Hey, what a pleasure this is. I've got a studio full of guests at the moment, but the first one through the door is one of the persons in our community I respect most at the moment. She has just been so energised through two major crises over the last, 16 months or whatever in North Queensland. Geena Court, and I'll introduce the other two guests in a moment. But Geena, welcome to the studio. What you have done recently is commendable. It sets a whole new standard in commitment to our community. Go back to... Let's forget about the original crisis, what was that, 16 months or so ago, and come back to where you started about 4 weeks ago. What did you hear was happening with the floods down at near Townsville, Ingham, areas like that?
I just saw what was happening, and having done Ayton and Dagara in the past, I really had a good idea of what they were going to need.
Yes.
There's a lot of areas down there that don't get mentioned. It's all the smaller areas that none of the media cover. So you don't hear about Lucinda, you don't hear about Halifax, you don't hear about Taylor's Beach. You hear about the bigger ones, good media coverage, but you don't hear about what the others are going through. And they've had full community centres there completely demolished, completely wiped out. And they've lost everything. They're not insured because they are community centres. But then you had a lot of people in Cardwell to start off with. And then it's sort of, just through talking to different people, I realised how bad Ingham really had been hit as well, because originally we were only here in Cardwell. Yeah. So I started a drive to get donations in, and Allied Moving Services, Cairns, jumped on board and offered me 4 containers in their driveway. And so we were able to use those for as long as we needed. Alsco Uniforms jumped on board, and they've delivered pallets and pallets and pallets to the containers for us to take down. Rags, towels, sheets. The biggest thing we needed was cleaning. The full start whenever you have a flood is mould. Mould and cleaning products, brooms, wheelbarrows, shovels, everything to get mud out of your house. So, as I said, because I had done the original one, I really had a good idea of what they'd need. So, basically, we've already managed to take 2 full shipping containers down they were jam-packed. Yeah. And my 4-wheel drive went down, all jam-packed, and we've delivered all of that to Cardwell. But the overflow, we then moved from Cardwell to Ingham. Yeah. Allied did that for us. Yeah. And now we've got pretty much almost a full container. We've got about 3/4 of another shipping container ready to go. Yeah. And we were due to take that down this morning at 8 o'clock. We were going to be loading the truck, but Seymour River's gone again. So the roads are all blocked, so we can't get it down there again. And the worst part and the most frustrating part with that is they need this now. Yeah. They need it down there. If I could find a barge, I would actually get it down. I would get it down by barge. Wow. But what do you do? We just sit and wait yet again. 16
months when you started from scratch. It must have been like a cliff face, but that didn't daunt you. Off you went up to, what was it? Woodgill, if I
Ayton and Dagara.
Ayton and Dagara
Woodgill was the one that the media covered.
Okay.
The media didn't cover Ayton and Dagara.
Okay.
Which in actual fact were hit so bad.
Yes.
So bad. It was like a war zone.
But you didn't do it once. You went up and back and up and back.
Numerous times. For about 2 months. Yes. I think that was pretty much my life for about 2 months. But you can't unsee those things. I went up there originally because my cousins from my ex-marriage, they were the ones that were tied to the tree for 12 hours, and it was actually their son that rescued 17 people. Wow. That were all sitting on the roofs. And originally all I saw was that. They needed help. So I packed my 4-wheel drive up just one load of what I thought they would need personally. Yes. But then I went up there and saw it, and you just don't unsee that. Yeah. So I couldn't leave all those people. And the government departments I fought with John over that time, it was disgusting. Yeah. I was so frustrated. I ended up ringing Malcolm Roberts and saying, Malcolm, what do I do? Can you help me out?
Yes.
Guide me. I don't know how to get through these government departments. He gave me advice, he donated money, and then he actually came and did the trip. And I said, Malcolm, if you're going to come and do the trip, I need a 4-wheel drive. He goes, yep, okay. So he turned up with a 4-wheel drive, we filled it, and he did the convoy.
Malcolm Roberts is actually in the studio at the moment. Malcolm, recount when you got that phone call and your response and what you saw when you got up there.
Well, what I saw when I got up there was complete devastation. I've helped a lot of people in floods in the south of Queensland, and it's heartbreaking. But what I saw up there was houses gone, completely smashed, absolutely gone, just stumps sitting there, the devastation. And I saw the enormous respect people have and the fondness they have for Geena, because they knew that she was genuine and she was putting her heart and soul into it. And it really is a mission of mercy and a mission of care that Geena's pushing, because she's got very strong instincts to care, very strong instincts, and it was remarkable. Everywhere we went, people would walk out and say hello to it, talking like they were long lost friends. You know, it's just amazing.
Also in the studio, one of the highest profile, particularly female politicians in the history of this country, Pauline Hanson. Good morning, and once again, welcome. You could not get a better candidate than this girl on your right-hand side.
Yeah.
She's a hero up here.
Correct. That's why I've chosen her. She's a fighter. She's dedicated. She loves the community. She's worked hard for it.
Yes.
Why would you pick anyone else? And especially John, why I did it, choosing Geena to stand on the ticket with Malcolm for the Senate is because she is from this area, and I wanted someone from North Queensland, because North Queensland is forgotten. And I wanted someone who lives in the area, breathes it, lives here and loves the place and wants to work hard for it. So that's why Geena's on the ticket. She deserves to be on the ticket. She's a fighter, and that's what I want on the floor of Parliament.
What about her communication skills? Do you think she's starting to come out of her shell?
Shell.
Shell. Did I have a shell?
I tell you, she's way ahead of me than when I first started in politics, and it's taken me this long to get where I am. But Geena's got it. She communicates with the people. They engage with her. She raises the issues that concerns them. She's part of it. She breathes it. You know it. You've spoken to her many times. People out there.
John, last night we were at a function and we had Q&A afterwards. The three of us spoke there. And someone asked a question of Geena. And Geena stood up and she said, I don't know that topic, so I'll hand over to one of the others.
Yes.
Most politicians rattle on about some nonsense and just try to snow people. Yeah. Geena said, I don't know, I'll find out, and then passed it over. Yeah. It's the integrity that really matters with politics, integrity. We don't have it in Canberra, we don't have it in Brisbane, so we need people with strong integrity.
Do you know, it's also one of those grassroots things. When people are in trouble, they listen to somebody who's got answers, who can provide help. If they don't have a roof over their head or a bed to sleep in or food to eat or whatever, Geena says, I'll sort that out. Let's get stuck into this. And some people, you know, and I understand politics is complex at times, but that means there are going to be some politicians talking over people's heads. I've got to say about One Nation, that's never been your issue. You're always right across, Pauline Hanson, grassroots matters that matter to voters across Australia.
I've never lost my grassroots. I know exactly where I come from, and I live and breathe it still myself. So I've never lost that. What gripes me is about Anthony Albanese coming out and saying, the poor darling, he grew up in a House Commission house, so he's putting down everyone who's in a House Commission house. That's got nothing to do with it. He's been a privileged man all his life. His mother was born in the House Commission house, was still there 65 years later, which I think is wrong anyway. So I don't accept his crocodile tears. He would know what it's doing bloody tough.
John, the other important thing is that Pauline listens, and she demonstrates by example. I listen. We get our messages from the people. That's why we talk the way the people talk.
Common sense policies, John, is knowing not only being a politician, but you actually have to be a problem solver. Instead of whinging about things, you look at the issues, what's the way to solve it, and then you actually work out what's the best way to move forward to solve the problems. We have so many issues in the country. I'm just fed up with the way we're going. We've become so woke. Politicians don't want to say whether you're male or female. It's just got to a ridiculous point. The educational system is broken. The health system is broken. The crime system's broken. Everywhere you look, it's absolute destruction that's happening in our community and way of life.
Can I just take you to another matter? I've not talked to you about that, but I just recently, with the Australian $5 note that's completely being reworked now, it's like, another welcome to country walk down memory lane. It's just, I just can't realise whether or not that's genuinely representative of where Australians are at the moment. I talk to Australians who say, when I'm flying into Cairns, why the welcome to country? We all own this country, and people are getting fed up to the teeth with this.
They are fed up with it. They had their vote at the voice. They rejected it.
Yes.
And if the government, even through legislation, they're in sneaky ways, they're putting part of this into the legislation that's passed in Parliament. People, it's the most divisive nation that I know at the moment between whether you're Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal, non-Indigenous. And every time that I'm in the floor of Parliament, when they do Welcome to Country, I'm the only one I turn my back on it. And I will continue to do it because I'm sick and tired of hearing it on the planes, wherever we go. It's just over, what can I say, people are over it. I'm over it. And hopefully Dutton's got the backbone to actually throw it out and get rid of it, and get rid of the 3 flags on the floor of Parliament too. We only have 1 flag.
Exactly.
I'm strong about this, John.
Yeah.
I'm going to push Dutton on it. If he ends up with government and we have the balance of power in the Senate, there's a lot of these things we're going to actually stand our ground on.
Yes. Actually, the leader in the Territory is showing great courage on this particular matter. This is from page 1 of The Australian today. Listen to what universities are teaching and demanding now. Macquarie University law students face the threat of failing a component of a key exam if they perform an underwhelming acknowledgement of country. An underwhelming acknowledgement of country. They've been made to adopt different personas and perform a privilege walk in order to better understand power and status. This is universities in Australia now.
It's been taught for some time. Even psychology classes, they actually have to, if you're white, you have to acknowledge that you're the privileged white.
Wow.
And this has been taught in classes. I hear from university students all the time that if they don't go along with it, they don't get the passes. This is happening. You've got a lot of people that claim to be Aboriginality in these university positions that they hold quite high in the universities, and they're not even Aboriginal. So they're claiming Aboriginality for the benefits that come with it. It has to stop.
Now, we're going to have to cut to the chase here. We've got the election about to be called by elbow. Let's concisely tell the listeners what you and your party stand for heading into this election, the most important 3 issues.
Okay, cost of living. You've got to address the cost of living, which is the rising cost of electricity. Go back to the coal-fired power stations, which are 90% emissions-free. If China's building 1 a week, we can actually build more here, deliver us the dispatchable power that we need.
Yes.
Renewables don't work. The other one is immigration. You've got to cut the immigration back. Foreign students coming in the country. That's out of control, and that needs to be addressed. We don't have the housing or the infrastructure to open up the floodgates. And last year, in net migration, we had over 460,000 come into the country, and they just brought in another 200,000 foreign students into the country in February. The other issue is to do with taxation. So for aged pensioners and veterans to work unlimited hours without affecting their pension, they won't lose anything. Income splitting, if you've got a couple with one dependent child in the house, they can actually income split. So if you're on 120,000, one partner can stay home, split the income, 60,000 each they pay tax on. It'll be saving $10,000 into the household. And the third one is look after self-funded retirees that raise the tax-free threshold from just over $18,000 up to $35,000 before they start paying tax. They're not a drain on society. Give them something back for what they've done.
John, can I just mention, we've identified $90 billion of waste in the government, federal government. What we want to do is take $40 billion of that and give it back to the taxpayers. Put more money in people's pockets. That's fundamentally it. $40 billion, more money in people's pockets.
Before you go, Pauline, everybody listening to you at the moment, when they enter the polling booths, how do they vote for One Nation up here?
Right. It's very important. You've got the lower house, you've got the green ballot paper. That's for the lower house. That'd be the seat of Leichhardt. But please, when you come to the Senate, you must vote One Nation. You put number 1 in the box above the line for One Nation. And then after that, consider, well, if we don't get up, then who's your next best choice? Then put your number 2, then your number 3. So it's your choice, but definitely give your vote to One Nation number 1.
And thank you for coming in at short notice. We didn't have quite as much time as we'd hoped to cover the whole sphere of things people want to talk about.
People can go to my website, have a look at our policies, understand what we stand for, and I can assure people we're the only ones that are really out there fighting, bringing common sense policies, because if we don't turn this country around, I'm in fear that we'll never change it again.
Yes.
If we are going so woke, our education system has had it, our health system, our crime, everything's escalating. The people we're bringing in the country, it needs to turn around, and I intend, in my last time in Parliament, I intend to take a tough stance, and if we have the balance of power, I tell you what, I don't care whether it's Liberal National or Labor Greens government, we'll hear from One Nation because we're going to fight for the people.
The policies are amazing, and they're on onenation.org. onenation.org.
And the three of you, thank you for coming in today. Senator Pauline Hanson, Senator Malcolm Roberts, and of course a local celebrated hero in recent times, Geena Court. Thank you all for coming in today.
Thanks for having us on.